Moneyality, moneyality, with the Moneyalogist, Miss Tanya Collins.
2, 1, 0.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. I am so excited to be here. I am Tanya Collins, the Miss Moneyalogist. And tonight I have a special guest that I'm going to be bringing on later. But of course, I want to talk to you about what's been going on with me. The last time I was in Costa Rica, and I had a young man on there that was a Costa Rican, and he talked about their currency. And so I wanted you all to know that that's really a big part of why I also started Moneyality. I am a former teacher. I feel that when I was teaching, I saw lots of students not really clear about how money worked and how did money make them feel. So I was really in tune with, I didn't really know how money made me feel, but I knew I was very much a saver. I knew that I was not just really a saver, I was a fanatic saver. And I just loved having money and having it in these different accounts. So after I realized that, I thought, wow, I want these students to have a good idea of who they are. So for me to do that for them, I had to start researching why was I feeling the way I was. And I thought, wow, it's so difficult sometimes when you have family and friends that say, wow, Tanya, you're stingy, or Tanya, you got all this money and you're not saving it. And I mean, you're saving it, but you're not doing anything. And so my big thing was I had the money and I had saved this money, but I wasn't spending it. And so I wasn't buying anything. And I felt like I was punishing myself because I wouldn't even buy things for myself. Like I would be very frugal with myself. And then that wasn't making me feel good. And then the relationships that I was having with people, well, maybe not understanding how they didn't have money. I was very judgy. So, of course, doing the research, I found out that we deal with our money personalities and that they are the essential skill in understanding how you're going to deal with money in your future. So, money personalities turned into Moneyality. And Moneyality has 5 Moneyality types that we're going to go over. But before I even go over those, I want to talk about what I do. And so I started the Moneyality. I say I'm about 30 years in. I've taught school, I taught high school, and I taught these classes back in the day. And I didn't even know that this was my passion. But when I taught high school back in the 90s, and I was taking students on field trips to the bank. And at that time, we were only dealing with checks and stuff like that. So I had them to understand what was a check register. So I had all this experience doing this with children. And then I figured out how to handle my finances. I was big in a company where I was selling cosmetics. And then I had accumulated a lot of debt. And I wanted to get out of that debt. So I remember doing the snowball effect. And I got so good at it because remember, I was already a saver, but I got so good at it that I learned how to kind of splurge a little bit and then get myself back out of debt. And I would be debt free. And I'm thinking, wow, is this a game? But it was a game for me, but it's not an easy thing for most people. So that's why I thought, wow, after all these years, again, I just wanted to be able to use my skills that I didn't even realize was a passion for me. And now that I know that, I am very clear that I want to be able to teach children. I've now really realized that I need to teach their parents. I am really sold out to help anyone who really don't understand why they feel the way they do about money, and that it's not something that we should be ashamed of. It's not something that you should just be like, wow, I'm not doing the right thing. There are things and reasons why you're doing it the way you do, and I am here to help you understand that. So with Moneyality now, I am going to be able to do different things like an assessment that I've created and all these things to help you. But before we go any further, I do need to do my sponsors for the night, and then I'm going to deep dive into more about Moneyality. So my first sponsor today is with Some Kind of Way Solutions. I am the founder of Some Kind of Way Solutions, and I started it because I knew that there had to be some kind of way that I could help people understand finances. So I wanted it to be a financial focused company. I wanted it to be cultural connection so I could teach them about traveling overseas and using different currencies. And I wanted it to be life lessons, like how do you deal with money from your day to day. And so that's why we are Some Kind of Way. Some kind of way, I'm going to make sure that you are comfortable in the decisions you're making throughout all these different aspects of your life. So I started Some Kind of Way. And if you're interested in talking to me about Some Kind of Way and helping or donating to our nonprofit, the number is 901-220-5704. Okay, the next sponsor is Nick Venti Design. He is a one-stop shop for everything digital. Nick's number is 662-902-9737. His website is nickventi.com. And he is my web designer. He also does animation for me. And I am just really pleased to be able to be connected with people that are really great and experts in their business. And the next person is Joy Media Group. JoyMediaGroup.net is the website, and her number is 901-618-9501. So if you're wanting somebody to help you with promoting your business or getting you in front of a camera for interviews, Joy is a person you can call. She will help you just make your brand be more exposed out there in the world for people to see. She can do it online. She can help you with, just getting the word out for your company, your brand. So that is Joy Media Group. All right. So let's talk about Moneyality. Let's look at our slides. Moneyality, the ace of personal finance. Love it, right? The ace. We are the number one. We are doing something that's totally different. Most companies that are talking about financial literacy, they are talking about it like, oh, we can help you with your credit, which is great. Oh, we can help you understand credit cards and credit card debt. That's great. All of these things are great because I learned all those things myself. But the part that I want us to understand is, how do you feel about money? Why are you not saving the way you want to save? Why is it difficult for you not to splurge and just go out to the store and when you know you need to use that money for your light bill? So there are 5 moneyality types, and I want you to know that you're going to range in having a primary moneyality type, and you're also going to have a secondary, and then you're going to stagger with the other 3, and they can be in different ways that you may want to start pulling them if your numbers are low, but we're going to get into that later. So the first one is a splurger. Splurgers are extreme purchasing circulators, and when I say extreme purchasing circulators, they enjoy the art of shopping. They enjoy shopping for iPhones. They want to get an iPhone. They want to be in the stores when the new sneakers are on the market. Those are going to be the extreme purchasing circulators. Oh, I'm sorry. And before I move on, circulators, you're seeing that each one of them are circulators. Why am I using circulators? Glad you asked. Circulators are the difference of not spending money, but you're circulating it. And I wanted it to be circulating because I don't want you to feel like spending is such a kind of like a negative term, and it makes you feel kind of uncomfortable that when people are like, you spending too much money and all that, it doesn't make you feel good. But when you circulate your money, you are sharing it in your community. It feels like you are being able to receive it back because a circle comes back to you. And that's really what we're doing. We're circulating. We have our professions, we have these great jobs, and you go out and you circulate your money to Kroger, and then somebody buys that grocery, you buy your groceries, and then maybe let's say a business is buying their groceries, and then they're circulating their money by selling chicken wings, and then you go get chicken wings. So it's the constant thing of one company, one person. It takes all of us to get this money moved around, and that is why we are circulators. All right, so the next one is a keeper, and that's a serious savings circulator. And when I say serious, they are very serious, and I'm going to talk a little more about them. Trackers are security planning circulators. They are for the future. They are definitely going to be calculating to maintain their future and being prosperous. And the adventure is the risky thrill-seeking circulator. And I laugh about that one because when I was in Costa Rica, I did zip lining, and I love it. And it's that adventure part of me, that thrill of being able to soar through the air and look at all the trees and all these things under me. And I'm thinking, am I scared? But I'm also kind of like, let me take this risk. Like, if this is going to be how I leave this earth, you'll be able to say, wow, that girl, she was doing something. She was exploring. She was living her best life. So I love that about me. I am an adventurer. And Mingler is the carefree socializing circulator. These are the individuals that really don't care a lot about money. So the next slide. When you think about the keeper, the serious savings circulator, do you like to have money in your account or under your mattress? That's the question that I will ask, because if you are a serious savings circulator, that makes you a keeper. And I'm a keeper, and we hoard our money. We are very tight-fisted with it. We will hold that money. We will squeeze it. And sometimes we don't even know why. It's not that we think that always people say, oh, I don't want to, I was poor and I don't want to circulate my money too much. But there are people of all economical groups that feel the same way. So it's not a poor thing or it's not a rich thing. It's a everybody's thing. So if you are a keeper, then you have these traits. We are known to be hoarders, and we're definitely bargain shoppers. The next one. The splurger, the extreme purchasing circulator. The question for you is, do you like to be the first to get an iPhone? Do you like to be the first to get concert tickets at full price? If you are one of those individuals, you are definitely someone who enjoys life. You are not stingy, as people like to say. You are someone who not only purchase things for themselves, but you purchase things for your family, your friends. You buy them really nice things. You don't spare any expense, and you love that instant gratification. So splurgers, y'all are okay. And the tracker is the security plan and circulator. My question for you, do you know exactly how much money your paycheck will be? And I'm talking about even from FICA and all the insurance being taken out. Do you know that amount? Do you have a budget for the next 6 months of your life? Then you are a tracker. I'm always amazed at trackers. I love math, but I don't know how to do the math like that. And I know people that do. They know exactly what that check should be. They know they're going to plan for this. And those trackers never want to be caught off guard with any unexpected expenses. They are true to form to make sure their future is secure. So that's the trackers. The adventurer, I just kind of talked about them. The risky thrill-seeking circulator. Do you like to try new restaurants? Will you take a chance on a high-risk sports bet? Well, then you have tendencies to be an adventurer. Adventurers are the entrepreneurs, they are the visionaries, and they are the ones that will put every dime they have into a high risk venture. They are, I always say that adventurers like myself, we're either going to be billionaires or we're going to be broke. We're not going to be like, oh, I don't know. We're going to just kind of jump in, and that's just an adventurer. The next one is a mingler. And the mingler is a carefree socializing circulator. So do you think money doesn't matter? There are people that say money don't matter. You shouldn't even care about money. They'll say like money it's not about money, it's about love and peace. And will you give your last dollar to a stranger? Then you would have characteristics as a mingler. And this is the most unusual moneyality type of all. Minglers like to fly by the seat of their pants. Sometimes they could be confused for an adventurer. But when it comes down to it, they really care more about relationships. It's not a risky thing. They just really like building relationships. They want to make sure everybody's okay. They're very good at doing charitable work. They want to make sure that, like, why are we living like this? Why do we need these things? And that's why I love talking about them. And we're going to go more into that later. But minglers, they have a purpose, and I like that about them. So those are the 5 moneyality types. And so I'm going to tell you that we are going to have so much fun. I'm going to be bringing on our guest, Miss Sharen Rooks, in a few minutes. So just stay tuned, and I'll have her on, and I'll be right back.
You are listening to Moneyality with Tanya Collins, the Miss Moneyalogist.
2, 1, 0.
Okay, everybody, I am excited. I am going to be talking to a very special lady. I've met her for some years, and we met through a mutual friend, and now she's very great. I got to know who she is, what she does, and I'm really thrilled to have her on the show. Her name is Sharen Rooks. She is the creative director of Power Meter Solutions, PR and marketing firm. Let's bring Sharen out. Hi, Sharen.
Hello. Hi, how are you?
I am good. Are you having a good Monday? Moneyality Monday, we'll say. Are you having a good Monday?
I am.
Good. So, Sharen, tell us a little about you.
Oh, wow. A little bit about me. All right. Again, my name is Sharen Rooks with Power Media Solutions. We are a public relations and marketing firm. And our tagline is, if you want it told, I'm the one to tell it.
Okay, I love that. I do love that. I attended your conference,
Yes.
and when I saw that, it was like, tell it.
Tell it now, PR marketing conference.
Yes, and I was like, wow, that's cute. That's different. They gonna tell it like. And then when I got there, Sharen told us she will tell you about yourself and the different things that could improve your company, your brand. So I like that. It's not a lot of companies, Sharen, that are open enough sometimes to be real about making sure that their customers are, just being good at what they do and represent themselves in a positive way. And sometimes it's just like, I'm just going to tell you enough to make you feel good. But I love that you are very clear and direct about how to improve somebody's life. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So you took the Moneyality quiz.
Yes. Yes.
Moneyality quiz, you did. So before we get into your results, was there any questions about it that made you think, like, wow, that's interesting?
Yes, some of the questions were. I think one of the questions asked a question. It said, would you? I can't remember which one it was, but my true response would have been that I like to give, and I do like to give, but it didn't give me that other option. Yes, I'm a little tight, but I do like to give. I do philanthropy work. And so I didn't have an option on there where I could say that. And I was like, just one more line on this question. I would have been like, that's me. Spot
Well, you
on.
know what? The Mingler answer would have been on there, so I'll just have to check. But we can go back over it because I'm always down for improvements and suggestions, honey. So I want to make that assessment to be pretty good at making sure it can really float with most people and have their answers available to them.
Yeah, but
Well,
overall, it was good.
go
Overall, it was great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
I really do love the Moneyality assessment. It's 20 questions, ladies and gentlemen. It's 20 questions that ask you varying questions about things about money. If you won a lottery, what would you do? And then after you do those 20 questions, I'm able to take your answers and to assess which of the moneyality types is your primary, what's your secondary, and then the other three and how they really play a part in your life. So let's start with your answers. Let's look at your results. So Sharon's results. She is a tracker. It's her primary, which is a number 7, and it's 20. So she is 7 out of 20. And she's a keeper next, which is a 5 out of the 20. And an adventurer, which is 4 out of 20. She's a mingler, which is 3 out of 20. And the splurger at the end, she has a number 1. It was only one of them where she have the splurger mindset. And I like your numbers. I will tell you that what makes me happy about them is that you're not so far off where you're like 9 or 10, and like I've had some people that are 0 in some areas.
Wow.
So when you have some aspects of a number in each one of them, it makes me feel like you are capable of using each one of the moneyality types when it's necessary in your life, and that's important to me.
Very.
Yeah, it's definitely a little easier for me to help you with strategies and things when you already have a mindset, even if it's a little mindset of whatever any of the 5 moneyality types. So as a tracker, you heard me talk about trackers are the planners, and they are the people who plan for their future. So do you feel that relates to you?
It does, especially with my background. I have my certification as an AP manager, so dealing with numbers, paying people's bills, companies' bills and things like that. I've done that for years, and so I understand what that means. And even with Power, I am a media buyer for my clients. And so when they provide their budget with their numbers and stuff, I have to be responsible and make sure that those advertising dollars are spent and accounted for through Power Media Solutions. So it does, it fits, it aligns.
I love that. And so let's go back up and look at those numbers again. So your next one is a keeper. And I told you that keepers are people that are pretty tight fists with their money. Does that resonate with you?
Yes, it does. It does, because things can happen, and so I don't like to be surprised. That's just not a good feeling for me. So yeah. And I can share a quick story. Most recently, I had a client that entered into a agreement with a media company and didn't share that information with me. And we were almost on the hook for $500. And so, yeah. And I was like, but I had backup. I had, the money there. But when we got, through everything, we realized that it was just an error in communication and they shouldn't have done that. So,
okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That makes sense. And so I want you to think about one of the questions that I always ask is removing yourself from your business. And we're just dealing with you. And I want you to think back to your childhood. I want you to think back to your first experience with money. And I want you to just kind of talk about it. If you remember the details, that's great. Or, just kind of think about what was your first introduction with money and how you felt about it.
Oh, sure. I can give you my first memory of feeling good about understanding how money worked. I had just graduated and I was working, I think, somewhere downtown in Welcome Wagon or something like that. And then I was also working in retail. I had two jobs. And I had saved up enough money where I paid cash for my first car. It's like $3,500, a car that in the back of Airport Toyota, on Brooks Road. And I had the money in the shoe. And I took a guy with me and had him to go and pay for the car because I just knew they were going to try to, play games with me and say, yeah, no, it's worth more than that or whatever. So I let him go in and broker the deal. And I came out with a car and paid cash for it. That was my experience to know when you save, cash talks, money talks. So I was able to, do that and bought a car free and clear, Toyota Celica.
Congratulations. That is impressive. I
Yeah.
like that.
Saved
And
it.
I
Saved it.
like that you remember that story. And so I'm always getting at this because I'm going to ask you one more thing to do for
Mhm.
me is see if you can go even back further because this is why I want you to know. When I study moneyality is part of our DNA, as I like to say, it's part of our financial DNA. So when I think back to when I was a child,
Mhm.
I started saving at 5 years old. I remember it. And
Mhm.
it was not anything that my mom told me, you need to be saving, young lady, or anything. It was just innate in me because I was saving for something that I wanted, right?
Mhm.
And so also because I wanted to deal with children, if you are a child and you don't even have access to money, there are certain things, certain characteristics about you that will show your moneyality type. So I'll give you
Mhm.
a quick example. So, like I said, I was saving money for my favorite thing, which is part of my story, a snowball, and I was 5. But when I think about my niece, and she is 6, when I take her in a store, I can kind of I'm not I haven't tested her yet. I keep saying that, but I'm clear that I am. But what I will say is when I take her in a store, it's not even because she's with me and not with her mom. Because some people say, well, they show out with their moms and different with their aunts, right? But she is a very mild child. She's not the one that is constantly saying, TT, I want this. Can I get this?
Mhm.
Whatever. And when you see kids that are always saying, can I just get a piece of bubble gum? Can I get those
Mhm.
are characteristics of splurgers.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
so when I say think back, if you don't even remember the exact time, I'm sorry, about money, but do you remember how you were as a child?
Sure. We didn't do that. So it wasn't you go to the store and you ask for things. Every 6 weeks, my parents would give us money for our report cards. And an A was worth, may have been back then, $5 or $2 or something like that. But for every A, you got something. And for every E, you got something. And so I knew every 6 weeks when the report cards came around, I was going to make some mad money because I stayed on the principal's list all the way up until 8th grade. So I always had money. And I don't remember exactly what I did with it necessarily, but I knew I liked the feeling of being able to get the money based on producing. And so that was my motivation. An act had to be done in order to receive the money.
And so when I hear you say that, you say you don't know what you did with it, and that's okay. But if you're telling me that you had the idea that you needed to make these grades, that you
Yeah.
had to have this certain level and you were going to get something, to me
Mhm.
shows that you were a tracker because you were able to predict that you're going to get this
Right.
money and you have to do these actions to do it. And that's what trackers do. They know they're kind
Mhm.
of like I mentioned to you before, they're and that tunnel vision. They know what it takes to get there. And those are clear signs. And I want people to know this because, Sharon, people are hurting. People are
Yes.
confused because we got social media. We got all these outlets saying, well, you need to be doing this and you need to be doing that. You need to get your credit fixed. You need to do this. You need to be buying houses. And I'm thinking they do, perhaps they do. And I love the idea that we have these experts out. I'm sorry. We have experts out here that say, these are suggestions you should do.
Right.
But to me, and that's why I love Moneyality, you can say that all you want, but if you are a splurger, they're not giving no cares about that. They can feel guilty, and people make them proud, and so they're probably embarrassed because they don't ever want to say it out loud that I don't have anything saved. Right. I mean, that could be really embarrassing around your peers. Yes. And that's my thing. I don't want that for people. I don't want you to feel like being a splurger is such a negative thing because I'm a hoarder of my money. Right. And that's a negative thing. I am cheap with myself. That is not great. I am cheap with myself. And if you can just understand by taking the assessment that, you know what, I'm a splurger, but that Miss Moneyalogist, she told me it's still hope for me. So I can still splurge a little, and she told me I can do this, and it wasn't really the 50, 30, 20 rule. She let me know that there's a formula she uses too. And there is. I have a Moneyality circulation formula, and it's based on whatever your primary Moneyality type is. And if you're a splurger, I say, hey, put extra in that formula for that. Do not deprive yourself. That's like a diet. Don't think you just go strictly and say, oh, I'm giving up carbs. I'm giving up all these things. Right. We already know. I have tried so many diets, but right now I eat healthy and I see the weight is coming off because I'm consistent with that. So thank you for sharing that story. I don't want to get off, but I love it so much because I want people to know that it affects you from your childhood all the way here. And so thanks for sharing those stories. The next question I want to know is, if now that you know your results, they have been revealed to you, going forward, you see that splurger is your lowest one. I've shared with you what a splurger is. Mingler is your next to the bottom, and then you got the adventurer. What does knowing these scores mean to you for going forward and how you can perhaps live and feel comfortable about the choices you make? And if you need me to explain them anymore, I will. But based on what you know, what would you say about going forward, knowing these things about yourself? How will it change you?
Well, it gives me an even stronger blueprint on why I do the things that I do. I don't think I'll ever probably be a splurger because that's not my personality. I like working behind the scenes. Very humble. I don't like being out front. And if I do things for people, it's done in secret when I do things. So there could possibly be some splurging going on in that sense, but it's not for people to know. Does that make sense? It's to be done in a discreet way. Yeah, it's in a discreet manner. And so I want to keep it that way. I just don't believe you need to tell people, announce that you're helping people if you're really helping them like you're supposed to. I just don't believe in that.
All right. So I'm going to go a little deeper with you. I want you to tell me, what are 2 things that you do for yourself without any reservation? Just you, not your business, but Sharen Rooks. What is something you do for yourself once a month that
go to a matinee, go to a movie?
So you are able to splurge on yourself for that, honey.
Go to a
That is
movie.
splurging. I want you to know if you weren't a splurger in that, you would come up with reasons of, no, I want to go to that matinee, but I think I'll use that money for something else. So it's those little things that I think we discount
Yeah.
as what's the splurger, what's the mingler, and things like that. So anytime that you are willing to give and take care of yourself and put yourself first, you are
Mhm.
splurging. And that's a beautiful thing. I am so glad you're saying that you do
Yeah.
the matinees, because there are people that will not do anything because they just feel so claustrophobic. I just need to keep it, or I can't go here, or that's too expensive. But would you pay any price for that matinee?
No.
You have your limits,
I have my limits. Yes.
and that's that tracker and keeper in you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you do go, and that's
Mhm.
beautiful, because that's important. That when I'm talking about Moneyality, I want you to just really think about Sharen Rooks,
Mhm.
not the Power Media, but Sharen Rooks, because those are the things that I want people to be fulfilled and happy about, with those
Right.
internal messages that their body is giving them. Yes, it works well in our business. And I will be honest with you about giving this Moneyality assessment for people that I have given the Moneyality assessment that are trackers and keepers. They're
Mhm.
normally entrepreneurs, they are business owners, they are people who are go getters, they are out there. And I tell you, like, wow, an adventurer is an entrepreneur and things like that. They are too. And so let me tell you the difference of them. Business owners that are trackers and keepers first, they are very meticulous. They are risk adverse in the points that sometimes not spending that extra money as circulating it
Mhm.
to invest in yourself or your company, because you just want to keep doing it the old way,
Oh yeah.
a hindrance to you.
Yes.
And
That's
being
right.
a keeper and a tracker will hinder you from expanding your business.
Yes. Right. That is true.
And an adventurer is going to spend that. They're
Yeah.
going to circulate that money because they are risk takers. And so I always think about, how does my business infringe in my life? And I see how it moves in all of that. And so another question, when you're out with your friends
Mhm.
and y'all are at a restaurant, and let's say it's 5 of your friends,
Mhm.
and you're sitting there, you're having a great time, and the bill comes.
Mhm.
Do you already have in your mind pretty much of which friends are gonna say, we need to just pay for our own, tell him to split this bill? Or you might have one of them that would say, you know what, I got y'all today, girl, thank y'all ladies for coming. I mean, do you have any of these things that you can kind of already predict of which friends are going to do certain behaviors?
Oh, that's a hard question. First of all, I'm. I don't think I've ever experienced where anyone in my circle that I was eating dinner with would say split the bill. It's either that person is going to pay or I'm going to pay. Um, we cover each other like that, and it's an unspoken thing.
Okay. So,
Yeah. So I mean, I'm serious.
so
I've
you got
never had
these
that to
5 friends, right?
happen.
So are you telling me, out of these 5 potential friends
Mhm.
that you have, that one person is going to cover all 5 of those bills?
Yeah, that has happened, and that
And
does happen. And in real life, in my world, I don't have 5 friends that we would conjugate together. They're more like three.
okay.
And so, yeah, three in the inner circle. But we don't, I'm a split or whatever. It's not like that. It's either it's unspoken. I'll ask the server to bring me the ticket, and then I'm gonna cover it, and we just leave. Or that person will say, "Hey, can you bring me the ticket?" And they cover it, and we're just done. and then you just rotate and do that as you have dinner and stuff like that. And that's just an unspoken rule that I have done for many years with these 3 people that are in the circle. So, we've had a couple of arguments about who's going to take the bill when, the server comes and start passing out the things and both of us are reaching to try to pay it. Now that has happened.
That is really cool. I love that story. And I would love to one day maybe give them the assessment to really see what's in their minds. Mm-hmm. I will tell you that is a very mingler response. Like minglers they're relationship people, so they're not going to be messed up about taking that bill because money doesn't matter to them. If they got it, you got it. And
exactly.
That is a beautiful way of doing that. But I do find that I would love to really know what's in their heads, because I will give you an example. I will take a bill. I'm being just transparent, right? So let's say I'm sitting at the table. As a keeper, most of the time, I will order my food. I don't order more than I know I can pay for in my purse. I know what I can pay for. And then I will look at the bills, depending on really where we are, depending on how I'm seeing the people at the table. I'm always thinking about how much is I wanted that total bill and would I be able to do it? And then I may be like, no, because I don't know if I wanna circulate that much money in this restaurant. So I'm thinking, but I do have friends that are splurgers, and they will take a ticket. And so the part that I will do is kind of sit back. And this is another reason that I started Moneyality, because when you are a saver, honey, people know that you save. And I was talking to a friend today, and people know you save, so they know you got it. They say they know you got it. And they never want to treat you because they just figure you got it. And they have expectations that you're good. You know what you're doing with money or whatever. And to me, that makes me sad.
Yeah, that would make me sad too.
I will sit back and just see if somebody's gonna offer.
Yeah.
And it's just real life, because I know I'm gonna have the finances to cover my bill, my portion of it for sure. And many times I probably have the finances that I can cover the whole thing.
Right.
But there's also going to be times when I think, wow, I want to be treated sometimes. I don't want to have to say, I got you. And I like you all because you all kind of rotate. You say, it's not just Sharen, you're doing it this time, Sharen doing it, because that will make people start to feel some kind of way about that, right? But it is some real stories where we have to really be mindful of how are we feeling about this person. And it's not really nothing to do with your friendship. I just know that if you are a mingler and I see that you're always trying to reach for a check, or if you're a splurger and you're always trying to reach for a check, then I will stop and I'll say, no, I got that. I got a friend that's a splurger and always grabbing for checks. And I'm like, no, I can do this. But it just really what I'll say is really makes you think about that it's not that they're doing anything wrong. And that's the part that sometimes bother me, is that if I sit back, I have been called stingy. Like, I'm stingy. I am stingy to a certain extent, but rest assured I can pay for my meal, right? So it's not I'm being frugal because I just want to take advantage. It's sometimes that I just want to feel appreciated. That I've taken a bill and that I can be treated, because having money has its pros and cons. Oprah has money. Right. People are always wanting to pay for her. We got you, Oprah, because if they are able to pay for Oprah brings them customers. Oprah will be able to say, well, I gave this and Oprah bought this, but a regular person like me, I'm not an Oprah. So when I purchase somebody's meal and I'm there, I just be wanting to be like, wow, let's kind of think about it where I guess at the end of the day, we can just pay for our own. And sometimes I'll just say, let's just pay for our own, because it just makes it a smoother transition. It makes it happen where there shouldn't be any guilt. There shouldn't be anybody feeling any kind of way, because if you ordered it, you should be able to afford it. And if you can't, then I'm sure we all friends. I got you.
Right.
I got you. But that's a whole nother story. Girl, I love Moneyality so much. I could give you all kind of examples. But I don't want to stay on that. Let's go to another question. Okay, because we want to talk about Sharen, not your business. We're going to get to that. But let's talk about Sharen. So when you're dealing with your children and you're looking at tell me about your children. How many do you have?
I have one. My son is 27.
27. So he's 27, and when he was growing up, what did you think he thought about money? What did you feel? Did you say he was careless, or did you think, oh, you're spending too much? Like, tell me about him.
I think he manages well. I think he manages well. He would splurge at times when he got his first job. They want to have all the latest, shoes and all that kind of stuff. But as he got older, he kind of, realized I got to make some mature decisions. I got to adult. Okay. But overall, he manages pretty decently. And now that he's married, his wife is the finance expert. So she handles most of the finances. She's really good at that.
That's really good. So you're married, right?
Yes.
So how does that work with you and your husband? Are you the financial whiz that handles y'all's budget?
No.
Y'all do it together, or he does it?
He doesn't.
Wow. So you know what I like about that? Because you say you deal with money and stuff all the time. I think you should be relieved sometimes, because it's a burden for somebody to be totally responsible for making sure our bills are paid, this and that and whatever. And I know that somebody needs to just be lifted off of that sometimes. They just want to be able to breathe and not feel like, wow, I got to make sure this is happening. I got to make sure this is happening. So I'm glad that you all have that. I don't know if he's tired, but I will say that if you were dealing with numbers all the time.
Yeah, he's okay with it.
And so, because that's a real thing. You say you were dealing with numbers and you're dealing with people's budgets and all that, but then you got to come home and make sure you budget and all that. It really can be taxing on people.
It can be.
It definitely can be. So if your husband took this Moneyality test, where do you think he would range?
Oh, his primary would be tracker, and his secondary would be keeper.
And y'all would be the same.
Very similar.
Wow. And so does that tend, and so you know what? Moneyality is so deep. I could really do marriage counseling with people on their finances. I don't know if I want to really dip into that so much, but I love children so much. I want to kind of make sure they are setting themselves up for success. But I think about marriages and I hear it, and there's always somebody that may be a splurger, somebody is a tracker, and they are crashing. Yeah. But I like that, and I would like you to just give me a suggestion that you would say, based on your relationship, and you're thinking that he's a tracker and a keeper. What are things about that has worked for you all, even though you may not have known that that's what y'all were? But how has that, now that you know, been some examples of some maybe positive things or things that y'all have really talked about in that area?
Oh, well, it makes sense. It's practical. You need to have people who are mature in marriage, who can manage. And I don't take offense to any of that. It doesn't make me less of who I am by any means at all. I love the fact that he's a tracker, and he does that. He handles all of our vacations. He plans all of that to the T. So the airfare, the hotels, the excursions, he manages and handles all of that. And he's looking at the numbers. And so that's cool. And I just show up.
Ooh, I love that. I
He's
love
great
that.
about that.
I love that. Oh my gosh, because you know what my biggest thing is I am a keeper and an adventurer. So because of that thrill part of who I am and the risky part, I like to make sure that I am exposing my friends and my family to new things. I want to take y'all to this new restaurant. And I have people that give me pushback, and one of my best friends, she's very particular about what she eats. So I'm like, what? We're gonna be in this new city, and you tell me we ain't finna eat here, girl? Yes, we are. And so it's something on that menu that you're gonna like. But I love that, and I find that it can be kind of like pulling teeth for people. And I think, okay, then I gotta sit back because you got a tracker. They rarely get off course. They normally eat at the same restaurants. They know what's good. They like what's good. They stay with that. And so I love that you get to kind of show up, even though you have a tracker personality and a keeper. And that seems like a really good mix. So I applaud y'all on that. Maybe y'all should be doing some marriage counseling. I don't know. And then you can use the Moneyality assessment to help them. And we'll be a great partnership, girl. Like, we'll do that. I mean, that's an idea, Sharon. We can do that. So I'm about to be wrapping it up. If you have any questions for me about Moneyality types.
No, this has been very enlightening. I'm glad that I took the assessment because it does give me better insight as to why I do the things and I perform the way that I do and the thought process behind it. And so I'm very glad that I took it. Very glad. I can't wait to share it with a few of my friends. So now they'll understand when our conversations and our business meetings are about money and what you're not going to do. Now they'll understand. Hey, that's what she's talking about.
I love that because Sharon, you already know that I talked to you about how I do this, but I'm not really out there yet. I'm not even selling myself. And I just love the information, but that doesn't help a keeper pay bills, right? So I thought about it this weekend and I was thinking, wow, Moneyality can be for parents, it can be for schools. I said, but it could be for businesses. I can come in and do professional development for their staff, and then they'll know why their staff act the way they do. And you know, if you got a staff member that got paid Friday, come to work Monday, they in their feelings, they mad. Probably a splurger, went out there, been in that line, bought them tickets, bought the best outfit.
And now they're broke.
They are. But we don't want them to feel that that's the only way out. We got strategies to help them. I got strategies to help them. And so different strategies can really make you feel good about who you are. And that's my thing. I felt bad about people kind of peer pressuring me about my choices as a saver. And it really brings tears to my eyes because it has been some rocky relationships when people have expectations of how you should be handling your money and it doesn't sit well with them. And then I have been very judgy, like, how did you get in this situation? Because I have never, and I say never, been in a situation where I felt like I wasn't going to have nothing to eat or my lights weren't going to be paid. I'm talking about even as a kid in middle school, I remember having my lunch money. I didn't really go to my mom a lot. I saved so much that I really thought that how did I put it? That my mama kind of couldn't afford me, right? and I mean, it's funny to say it like that, but I knew that that I saved a lot, and I had money that I probably sometimes was saving more than my mom. And
Wow.
because I got some great internships, I know I made more money than her. But again, it just really kind of takes you in different places. And so I love to understand that my choices are who I am, and I want to be accepted for who I am, but I'm also wanting to be able to accept a mingler. And I want to use that mingler mindset because I love charitable work. I love going out. I volunteer a lot. And it's not about finances. It's about giving of your time. Like, I'm really big about relationships. I love my friends. I love going out. I like the camaraderie of people. So I'm a real good mingler and caring about people. And so I'm trying to not necessarily balance it. I'm never thinking I'm going to be 20, 20, 20, 20 in each one of them.
Right.
5 or whatever it is in each one of them. But I know that I can pull from them when it's needed, Sharon.
Right.
That's what my goal is to let people know that you can pull from them. If you are in a store, and Sharon, you got a 1 as a splurger. We already know you do the matinees. But if you're in a store and you see something that you really love, I say get it. Because sometimes me being closed fist has made me miss out on some beautiful opportunities, and I can't come back and gift them.
That's
so
right.
I say, if it's something that's really in your spirit, is moving you, that when you get home, you're gonna be like, darn, I wish I had gotten it. I say get it. And I do it now myself. I do it. So any other questions for me before we get ready to close?
No, this has been good. That's all I can say. It's been great.
Great. So thank you for coming on, Sharon. You have been an amazing guest. I'm telling you, I love talking to you. And I hope you can see how much this means to me, like to just be able to share these different arrays of people's personalities. So Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I am going to say bye for now, and I'm going to close out. All right, people, I just want you all to know that at this point, I am Tanya Collins, the Miss Moneyalogist. And right now, as I was saying in the podcast, that I am available. You can reach me at my email address or my phone number. They're going to be on the screen for you. And if you are looking for someone to come into your schools, and I have an assessment for adults, I have an assessment for teens. I haven't gotten it for the little ones yet, but I have from, let's say, I guess 11 all the way up to adults. And I can give the assessment. I can talk to your staff about it, and we can just have, like really good conversations to make sure people feel good. So I can come to churches. I'm just available. If you're looking for me, just email me. My email, just put that out there for me. My email is themissmoneyalogist@moneyality.com. And my number is 724-242-7458. And if you have any questions, email me or give me a call at that number. And thank you all for watching. I hope you're able to learn something from this. And I will see you next time. Take care. Peace.
Moneyality. 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 With the Moneyalogist, Miss Tanya Collins.
2, 1, 0.